Welcome back. We are now talking cheese plates, how to pick them and how to make them pretty. Joining us once again is Marilyn Thomas. She is the fresh and frozen foods manager here at Foodsmiths.
Long title.
Where do I start? You have so many cheeses to choose from.
I know, and this is the fun part for me. Whether I'm buying them for at home or if I'm buying them here for the store, it's always fun to source them, look for them. So sometimes we get a lot of questions about how do I make a cheese platter, and that's the part when there's so much to choose from, right? So the sort of the rule of thumb is 3 to 5 cheeses, no more than 5. It gets to be too complicated and a little bit too overwhelming for guests, and less than 3, it just not giving enough variety, right? So I like to always start with a soft version, and then of course we've got our lemon one here.
These ones are pretty.
Aren't they beautiful? They're from Salt Springs from BC, and they actually are fresh chef, and there's a lemon slice on top, then there's other ones with roasted garlic. They actually have ones with edible flowers on top too that are just absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, so we'll start with
that's a good choice. I like to try to grab something that's Canadian, and the more local the better if I'm going in that direction. And it's always fun to do a theme tray sometimes too, so just depending on what you want, but you should go with a soft one and then a harder one. And this is a really interesting one. This is Avonlea. It's cloth bound. It is from PEI, and it's just a new company out, and they've got some really fun. They've got butter. They have an 84% butter fat butter that's no sodium, which that's a difference of skim milk and whole milk, but it's butter, and yet it's that much fatter than regular butter, but the flavor is amazing. But their cheese is awesome. That's a cow one. And then you can go ahead. You should always try to have a blue, although there'll be lots of people like the blue. There'll be just as many that don't like the blue instead.
Because it's so strong.
That's right. And you know, the thing is, it's a good time for people to introduce themselves to it, right? And I think with blue cheese, it's something you sort of have to grow to appreciate. And so I always like to get something with a little different shape too. So we have a nice round, we have a nice pie shape. So I think we should go with like a half moon.
Okay.
And that's something that looks nice on a cheese platter too, to have some different shapes, some different textures.
This is the one that I bought when we were here last month, and I crumbled this on, I made steak and a baked potato, and I crumbled it on top, and it went over really well.
It is very tasty, in other words, it's just so creamy and rich. And then I think you should always offer something for people that are afraid of cheese, because you'll always get people that are just like, oh no, I eat cheddar.
Yeah.
And you want to accommodate, because everybody has what they need. So you know what, they don't eat just a cheddar. Why not go ahead and introduce them to like a local cheese? You can always go with something, say, I'd go either with a Monterey Jack or a medium, just so they have something with a little bit of flavor, and it gives them a chance to, instead of just grabbing their everyday grocery. So let's grab one of these.
So we've got soft, hard, goat, cow. Now this is always my problem, Marilyn. How do you take all of these cheeses and make them look pretty? I am absolutely guilty for just cutting it into little cubes and throwing them. I have the really cute cheese plate, but how did you...
you know what, you're making too much work for yourself when you do that as well, because you might just as well let your guests go ahead and break it up. So these are the fun things here. If like we picked a cheese with lemon, so it gives you a chance to go ahead and incorporate a couple of extras around your cheese platter. Now I'm a big fan of finding cheese platters, so you're going to go ahead and pick your complementaries. To keep your cheeses simple though, cut them into different shapes but big pieces, so that your guests have fun.
And you said that it's important to have a different knife for each cheese,
A different knife for each cheese, yes.
Okay.
And allow at least an hour to come to room temperature, so that your guests can really enjoy the flavor of the cheese.
And here you've just sliced a, it's not a fig, what is it?
Yeah, it is a fig.
It is a fig,
It's just a fig, look at you go. And a few herbs just to decorate it up, and really just go with what's in your cheese instead, and it'll go ahead and bring up the flavor, but you know, and then some nuts on the side, some meats and mustards, and you're good to go for a whole evening, and you don't even have to move, because it's all really good at room temperature.
Perfect. Well, let's dig in. We've got more coming up from Foodsmiths out in Perth a little bit later on CTV Morning Live.